Hi, my name's Andrew Wright, and I'm a video producer and post-production supervisor for George Brown College here in Toronto, Canada. I want to share a short version of my story about how Phil Johnson and the MBL program changed the course of my career for the better. I'd worked as a software developer in the UK for 10 years, and I always felt like I picked the wrong career. Money was great, but I never found the work satisfying. I felt like I was just going through the motions. And when I moved to Canada in 2006, I was determined to make a big career change. I'd always been passionate about film production, and Toronto has a big film production scene, but I inevitably ended up doing the same thing I was doing before in the UK. I worked for another 9 years in a profession that I wasn't passionate about and felt like I was stuck in a habitual rut. Then I met Phil. Phil is the person you wish you'd met 10 years sooner. While working in my software development job, I'd been writing a screenplay in my spare time that had a big theme around the battle between the conscious and unconscious mind. And when Phil told me he developed a management training program that leaned heavily on these themes, I was eager to learn more. I think I had around 10 sessions with Phil and quickly realized his approach to management training was very different to the cliched buzzword riddled training sessions I'd experienced before. And there was a big focus on consciously overriding ancient instincts that would have been very useful when we were running around throwing spears at wild animals and guarding our shelters, but in the modern world are often a hindrance. And I remember him saying, this is going to be very difficult. And he was right. Not listening to the loud voice in your head that is constantly saying no is tough. But I started putting it into practice and I started to recognize situations where I was uncomfortable and the loud voice saying, don't do it, was getting louder. But I pushed through it and the results were always good without fail. Armed with this and many other insights that Phil discusses in his program, I decided to give my conscious mind the ultimate test. Can I override my unconscious habits that are keeping me locked in a career that I'm not enjoying? I'd met some staff at George Brown College whilst producing some film work I've been doing in my spare time, and an opportunity came up at the college as a video producer. Chances like that don't come along often, but the voice in my head was loudly saying, don't do it. It's less money. You don't have the experience. You're too old to make a career change. You'll make a fool of yourself. You'll never be able to go back. Fortunately for me, Phil's voice was louder in my head and I took the chance. 8 years later, and I'm still working at George Brown College. I produced 5 feature-length documentaries for them, along with hundreds of smaller videos. I also completed my own feature film with my own production company and got streaming distribution on Amazon Prime and other streaming platforms. I've met hundreds of interesting people, made new friends, and experienced so many unexpected spin-offs from this career change. So I guess the moral to this story is don't avoid change for all the reasons that you can think of. Make the change for all the reasons that you can't think of. If you want to hear more about my story, you can hear a longer version on the MBL podcast.